Hello fam, welcome to PM Personality Profile. My guest tonight, she is a creative entrepreneur, a marketing, communication and event specialist with over 24 years experience in managing public, corporate and national events. I'm sure by now you know I'm talking about Theresa Ayoade. She's CEO of Charterhouse, one of West Africa's leading communication companies. Happy to see you.
Nice to have you here.
And what have you been up to since the last VGMA?
What have we been up to? A lot of things, a whole lot of things. We do so many things. Of course, organizing corporate events is mostly what we do. We provide events, management services for companies for across a wide range of events. It could be a market activation, it could be a product launch, a banquet, and conferences and exhibitions. So that's what we do on the daily, and of course we also do audiovisual production. So all of these things, there's always one project or the other, one brief or the other from a client that we are working on, and it's about just marshalling the team to make sure that we are delivering on all expectations.
Okay, let's start from the last VGMA.
Yes.
How would you describe the success in terms of patronage, in terms of nominees, in terms of performances?
Well, from my point of view, I would say that it was one of the best and smoothest running events we've done in the VGMA series. We are always, one thing we always seek to do for the Ghana Music Awards is to improve on the previous.
Yep.
To take on the new learnings and then make the next one better. And I think that it's probably be one of the least controversial.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course.
One of the least controversial, which means that we are really paying attention to the process. And we also collaborated with a lot of other players in the industry in terms of the production of the events. By the time we started the events, we had to do everything ourselves because we didn't have a lot of skill and expertise on the market. But 25 years down the line, we don't have to do everything ourselves. We can now, the industry has grown, there are a lot more professionals out there that we can bring into the fold. So it was a joy working with other professionals on the project, and we think that everything came together nicely.
So after 24 years of organizing music awards and being one of the finest, how do you think it has benefited the entertainment industry?
Well, for one, I would say that it has really thrown the spotlight on the industry, because you could be there doing your thing in your own corner and it not being really showcased at that high national level. And this is not only at the national level. I'm talking about creating a platform for our music to be promoted internationally as well. So the Ghana Music Awards becomes the window through which you can actually look into and see what Ghana is doing in its creative space and in the music industry. It's a platform to project our music. So I believe that we've succeeded in projecting our music and in projecting our musicians and in celebrating them and in celebrating their works. And I think that it's helped a lot to increase their image and their profile.
You've managed several creative platforms.
Yes.
Obviously, the VGMA, 1,000 and how
1,000
many?
Laughs, the music series.
Laughs, and
Yes.
and then
Miss
Miss
Malaika,
Malaika, and all of this.
that,
What would you describe as some of the inhibitions in these areas?
Well, it's been a joy, first of all, having worked in this industry for about 25 years and beyond. It's been interesting seeing, we've done a lot of work in talent discovery and talent promotion, and it's been a joy to see that through our handiwork, a lot of talents have been discovered and have been projected and have a lot of careers. A lot of young people have discovered their own talents and have been able to forge a career in the creative space. So that's something we are very happy and very proud of. Having worked in the industry, obviously you come across challenges. I mean, before I entered the industry, I didn't even know of the challenges, of the problems, but as you work in the industry, you get to see the issues firsthand and begin to think of how you can solve them. One of the major challenges we faced when we started was lack of logistics and infrastructure. For the kind of things we wanted to do, there was no logistics, virtually none available. And I remember the first few events and concerts we had to do, we had to bring in the kind of logistics we needed. We had to bring them in from neighboring countries.
Okay.
They had to come in by road, stage, talking about things like stages and lighting and I mean,
so have the kind of taste that you wanted.
Level one, we had to bring them in. Okay. But I believe that over the years we had to invest in it ourselves, as well as other players have come into the space to invest in it. Yep. So now you can get more logistics available locally. You don't have to import every time you need. So those were one of the challenges. I think the other aspect would be infrastructure. Okay. Infrastructure is a big challenge for us also, because we need to have avenues to showcase our creativity. So there are just not enough performing theaters. There are not enough in venues for concerts, for festivals and things like that. So there's a big infrastructure challenge, and even for conferences and for meetings, you know. So that's another area where there are challenges. Anybody who organizes events knows that one of the major challenges we face is venues. Okay. Yeah. So venues, certain infrastructure, logistics, and of course skills. The lack of skills training in our industry. There are not enough institutions training people for our sector. Okay. If you look at the whole creative sector, and if you look at the curriculum of the various academic institutions, there are very few of them offering courses that train people for our sector. Okay. So most of the time, you'd have people joining your company and with academic, degrees, social sciences, etc. And you have to train them on the job. So it's a very long learning curve.
Comes with costs.
Yes, comes with costs. You know, the cost of learning. It makes the process very tedious and arduous. Whereas if you had people coming in from specialist institutions that have been trained for our field, they hit the ground running, and you know, you get higher productivity. So skills training, lack of skills training institutions is also a big concern for us. And of course, funding. Funding. Every industry has sources of funding. They're able to walk into institutions and present a business case and be able to access funding. Funding in terms of debt and equity. It's difficult for creative industries to be able to access funding. Yeah, it's first of all, the people who are managing these financial institutions do not understand the sector. So they don't understand how the sector can pay back loans and things like that. So even if no matter how well you present your case, they just don't understand it. So they would rather probably lend to somebody who wants to import a product and sell and pay back, than somebody who says, I want to organize a concert. So let me borrow money and organize a concert, and I'll pay you back. They don't get after the concerts. I mean, so funding is a big challenge, and so we have to work with government needs to work with us to help us have access to funding.
Charterhouse is one of the first, if not the first, to organize a music reality show.
Yes, we started.
What happened to
Stars of the Future? Stars of the Future suffered from funding.
Oh,
yes, because we need funding to run the whole activity. So we had to rest it. But we believe that we can repackage it and see how we can bring it back, because it was very instrumental in discovering a lot of singing talent in Ghana, and we pride ourselves from having played such a role in developing artists like Adina, Efia, Wiala, Yaya, and a whole list of them who all came through Stars of the Future. So we need more platforms like that that can really expose young artists to the industry.
I must say you've come really far. 25 years
Yes.
is not a joke. And I want to ask you, and I'm happy that from the beginning you spoke about how the bashing and all the things that is associated with VGMA.
Yes.
How did you manage this particular bashing? I think 2013, 2014, when Shatta Wale was given to you, your husband, your organization.
All of that.
How did you manage it?
It wasn't a pleasant experience. It was very unpleasant because we felt that we are partners in the industry and we are really doing a great job of trying to promote Ghanaian music. We do understand that everybody has an opinion on who they think should have won and all of that, but we've stressed and we've emphasized that Charterhouse is not responsible for deciding who wins, that we put together a process, a 3-tiered process that generates the results. And so the results that are announced are a combination of the 3 processes that we've put in place. And so in those days, people probably didn't understand the process, and so they immediately attacked us directly. But the thing is that we take all this as feedback, and we always go back and review the process and make sure that we are tightening all the loopholes to make sure that the results that come out are more representative of the industry. But we feel that it's okay, whilst it's right, it's okay to express your opinion. When it goes overboard and gets to the point of threatening and libeling and all of that, slandering and libeling and all of that, then we felt that we had to take some legal action because we had to protect our reputations. There are what you call digital footprints. When your reputation is smeared, through such a smear campaign and is put out there in the digital space, and somebody goes to Google your company, maybe they want to give you a contract or something. They Google your company and things like Charterhouse is a criminal organization. I mean, comes up. They would not be able to have that whole background information. All they know is that Charterhouse is a criminal organization. So it's important for us to put out there in that same digital space that the person who called us a criminal organization has been taken to court or sued for libel. So we had to put it out there, and in some cases we're able to get a retraction from the perpetrators, and we published those retractions as well, which at least cleared our image. So when it comes to issues of cyberbullying and threats and these kind of things, you have to take action because you can't let them slip. Years before we used to ignore them, but when this became very serious, I mean, we were very worried that maybe some fanatic out there could just begin to take action into their own hands because of how they are feeling, because their artist is inciting them. So we had to really take serious action about that. I mean, this was a situation where my kids were coming from school and telling me that this is what their friends were saying about, So we realized that, wow, this thing is getting very widespread, and if we don't do something about it, it's not going to end well. So we had to take action.
And so the court settled it?
Yes, it was settled in court. And
will you ever accept Shatta back to VGMA, since we've seen Stone Boy come back?
I think we are open to a conversation. We just want to make sure that the scheme is respected, and whoever agrees to be part of the scheme agrees to abide by the outcome of the scheme, and most importantly, just give it that respect, because we give every musician the necessary respect, and the industry must also give us that respect for what we do, because we are collaborators in the industry. So we are happy to sit around the table and have a decent conversation, which is what we did with the Stone Boy team. We invited them, we had a conversation, we all agreed on how to work together better for the betterment of the industry, and we proceeded, but we haven't had the chance to do that with Shatta Wale's team.
So Shatta says that if you call him, he will be willing to do so. Will you do that?
Well, we will explore that. We will explore that. I mean, we want to be as inclusive as possible. So we are happy to have a conversation, but as decent as adults and as mature people, we can have that conversation. Yeah.
Okay. Is this something you've already planned doing?
Well, because we made overtures which were not responded to, we moved on.
Okay.
So
you actually approached him, and
at the time that we reached out to the two. We reached out to the two, Stoneboy and Shatabale. Yeah, I think that was a few years back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we reached out to them
immediately after the incident.
Yes, I think after a year or so, we reached out to them.
Okay.
And Stoneboy's team responded, and we had a conversation. But the other team, they didn't respond.
Okay.
So we haven't had a conversation.
So that means that the ban has been lifted?
Oh, yes.
Has it officially been lifted?
It was officially lifted. It was at the point at which it was lifted that we had the meeting. Yeah.
Okay. So you've ventured in almost all areas of the entertainment industry. What's left?
There's still a lot to do.
Okay.
We still believe that there's still room for talent development.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are still going to probably go back to the platform that we had created, the Stars of the Future, to continue to promote and develop talent, to discover new talents, and then see how we could set them on a path to making their talents more commercially attractive for them and commercially viable for them. So definitely talent development is an area we're looking at. We're also looking at skills development. I told you about the challenges that we face in the industry. So where we find ourselves as industry leaders, we've seen the problems. So what can we do about them? So in our own way, we are coming up with some areas that we can help provide solutions. We cannot leave it all to government to do, but we are also engaging at a high level with government to work with them to see how we can help provide some of the solutions that we see in our industry. So, and alongside we ourselves providing some solutions. So we are going to be providing some solutions for skills development. We are providing some solutions for talent development. We are also providing some solutions for infrastructure development, which means providing venues and spaces for the industry, which is another area we are looking at, and other areas. Yeah, in terms of the funding, I don't know. I mean, we cannot provide funding, but we are going to continue to engage with government to help the industry, to help provide funding for the industry through various avenues. We're having conversations, so we'll continue to work along those areas. And there's another important area which is a challenge for our industry. That's data collection for our industry. There's a lack of data for our industry, so sometimes it's difficult for organizations or institutions that support the creative industries to be able to assess the impacts of what we do. So there's a need to gather data, and I believe that now with technology that should enable us. So we are also working in that space of how to aggregate data on the creative industry. So those are things that so it's more of ecosystem development activities, and we'll continue to on the softer level, we'll continue to provide entertainment, we'll continue to provide create new platforms that will provide entertainment and to engage people. So if you watch out in the space between now and the end of the year, you will be announcing some new platforms that should be bringing people together to have more fun and to create more opportunities for creatives to exhibit what they have and to make them thrive.
Well, congratulations for, bringing us music, entertainment, laughter, taking out our stress for the past 25 years. We wish you well. But I also realize that you're passionate about women. No wonder you organized the National Women's Summit. What's that all about?
Well, being a women leader of a business, a woman business leader, I have come across, I belong to a number of women's groups and women's networks.
Okay.
And through interactions, I realized that there are a lot of issues to do with women, especially in their career development, in their work, in the work environment. And I felt that as a woman leader myself, I should be able to create a platform, especially on International Women's Day, which was, because I looked around and I realized that on International Women's Day, this day that has been set aside for women, there was no big events being held to really have the big conversations and bring women together. So but then a lot of it's marked in in offices and institutions at that level.
Yeah.
But I felt that there needed to be a big event to bring us all together. So that's why I created a National Women's Summit, for us to be able to plug into the global conversations that are being held about women.
Okay.
And let Ghanaians also have a say in it, share their thoughts, share their opinions, and create awareness about these issues, and especially to the next generation.
How has the response been so far?
So far, it's been great. A lot of women who have been part of the platform have been very excited, and people who have attended and have listened, because we do it in collaboration with Joy FM.
Okay.
So it's live on radio. So even if you're not able to attend physically, you can listen to it and hear the nuggets of wisdom, information that is being shared.
Yeah.
And we've had very good reviews. I think it's also helped to change mindsets along the way, because it's not only listened to by females, you have all the males as well, and a cross section of society.
Okay.
So you're listening to these issues and hearing them has kind of created some awareness about some of the issues that women face. It's been a very interesting journey. So what I always say is that if through these activities we are able to change the mindset of even one person, I think we've made an impact.
Yeah,
and I think we've been able to touch the minds of more than one person. So it's been a good journey.
Okay, let's talk about your philanthropic, the philanthropic part of you.
Okay.
And the fact that you've adopted, I think, the Royal Seed Orphanage.
Yeah.
What really touched you to do this?
I had always wanted to be able to give back, but in a constructive way. I was not interested in. I'm the kind of person who, if I'm doing something, I like to do it thoroughly. Going in, I'm going in deep.
Yeah.
I'd rather not do it, but if I'm doing it, I must do it in a way that makes sense to me. Yeah, or in a way that makes impact.
Yep.
So I had been thinking about it, and then I think it was my husband's birthday, and he said he wanted to do a party at the orphanage. So I was like, okay, let's go. So we all went along, and at the party with the children, I began to ask the questions about the orphanage, and I went on a tour of the orphanage, and I saw that they really had needs. They really had needs, and they were doing a good thing. They're playing a good role in society, taking all these abandoned children and providing for them. So if we can't do it, personally, then we can support those who are doing it so that they can do it well and provide properly for these children. So that's how I established that relationship with them. And I decided that I was not going to make it a birthday thing, but I was going to make it a sort of a continuous support. Work with them on their journey and see how you can support them. So I also regularly, at least every 2-3 months, I give them a call. What do you need? What do the children need?
Yeah.
And I also didn't believe in just going to pack things and taking it there. I wanted to make sure I was addressing particular needs. So I asked them what they need, and then based on the needs list that they sent us, we shop for them, and then we go and we present to the children.
God
so it's been an interesting journey, and we've been doing this for about 6 years. 6 or 7 years. We at least 3 to 4 times a year we go there to interact with the children, and it's good. It's been an interesting journey watching them grow, and seeing that. And the thing I like about that orphanage is that when you go there, you see progress. Yeah. From where they started from with nothing, hats and all of that. Now they've been able to grow, and any opportunity I get, anybody who wants to do any charity work, I direct them there to support them as well. So I'm happy with that so far. Thank God for the opportunity to give back.
Yeah, thank God for your life, and thank you so much for doing this. Theresa Ayoade, 25 years of managing one of the leading marketing communications in West Africa. You know, many actually think that she's a Nigerian. When we return from this break, she'll be telling us if she's a Nigerian. I also know that she wanted to be a banker. As a daughter of a banker, what exactly do you expect? How she got into the entertainment and marketing communication space, she'll be telling us all of that. Plus, she'll also be sharing with us how she manages all of this, her busy schedule with family. All of that after this break. Please stay with me. Welcome back to PM Personality Profile. My guest is Theresa Ayoade. She's the CEO of Charterhouse. So first, let me ask you, I want an answer to this $1 million question. People think, Ayoade, are you a Nigerian?
I'm Ghanaian.
Okay.
I'm from Latte. Ikwapim.
Proper.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm married to a Nigerian.
Okay.
Yes.
So that explains it.
Yes.
Ayoade.
I would have loved to combine my name, but my maiden name was Inyeje. And so it was too long. So the compound name, Inyeje Ayoade. That would be too long.
That's
so
okay.
I had to sacrifice my maiden name.
Well, if your father was not angry, then
No,
that's
sorry
fine.
about that, yeah.
So you from Latte. Both
Yes.
parents are from Latte.
My mother's from Enum, Enum Boso, and my dad's from Latte.
Okay, is that where you were born?
No, I was born in Accra.
In Accra.
Born and raised in Accra.
Bread, cheese,
Born,
butter,
raised,
everything. Where exactly?
Where was I? I think Mamprobi or somewhere. Yeah,
Okay.
that's where I was born. I think.
And you
Yeah.
grew up all your life in Mamprobi?
No. I grew up my early childhood was in Latvia Koshi.
Okay.
Yes, so I went to primary school at Bishop Awe School,
Okay.
Latvia Koshi. And from there I went to Achimota School.
Okay.
I did my Form 1 to Upper 6. So I'm a
Okay.
thoroughbred Accra, as they say.
Okay.
Yeah, and then from there I went to the UK for a while. I wanted to actually pursue my university education in the UK, and I had a dream to be an economist,
Okay.
a developmental economist, and to
Yeah.
work at the World Bank.
Okay.
I wanted to solve the world's problems.
Provide
Yes.
world solutions.
Yes, brought
to world
solutions to
problems.
world. Unfortunately, I could not continue my education. I actually got admission to. I wanted to go to attend LSE, London School of Economics.
Yeah.
I eventually started the first degree at UCL, University College of London.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I could not continue because my father got caught up in this political drama of those days, where assets were being frozen and all of those things. So we got caught up in that, and my education had to be suspended.
Wow.
So I couldn't continue. I stayed in the UK to work for a while, and I decided that that's it. I've had enough of that. I was going to come back to Ghana.
You packed your baggage.
I packed my bags at the age of 22, I think, and I came back to Ghana.
We'll
and
get more
decided-
into that, but
Yeah.
first I want you to share with me how growing up was like in Latebiokoshi. I
Okay.
mean, that means that you speak Ga?
I understand every word of Ghana.
You grew up in Latebiokoshi?
Yes, my father's family actually they speak Ga throughout. I understand every word of Ga, but I
But you
can't
can't speak.
I can speak it, but I can't. I'm not confident.
Oh,
but
my
I understand
goodness.
everything. If we have a conversation here, I understand everything you're saying.
Well, you don't know.
But I don't speak. But I speak Chi. Yeah, Chi and Fancy.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you also speak Latte, means you speak Equiapim.
Equiapim, no, unfortunately, I wish. It's such a beautiful language. I wish. When I hear people speaking it, I wish I could
But
speak
where
it.
did you learn Fancy from?
Because my stepmother's Fancy.
Okay.
Yes,
so
I grew up
you-
with my stepmother.
with your
She's
stepmother.
Fancy, yeah.
Okay. So as a daughter of a banker, I'm sure growing up would be rosy and everything was there.
It was comfortable, I would say.
Okay.
It was comfortable. I mean, yeah, my father used to be a director at Bank for House and Construction in those days. So we grew up in Abilimpe.
Okay.
So I mean, with childhood in Latvia Koshi, and by teenagers we were living in Abilimpe and going to a school, National School. So it was a fairly middle class family. But that fairy tale got broken when all of that happened. I told you, so the trajectory was for me to from the Motown, go to the UK, continue my education and my dream. And unfortunately, while I was there, everything just yeah. So after hanging around the system for a while, I decided to come back home and take my fate into my own hands and move on.
Here we are,
and I've been saying to a lot of young ladies that listen, since I got to the age of 18, I have been independent. Okay. I have been taking care of myself since the age of 18. Because at the age of 18 is when I was sent to the UK to study, and everything just got all scattered. So while I was in the UK, I had to fend for myself, waiting for things to get better at home. And when I realized that, I mean, things were not going to get better anytime soon, I took the decision to come back home and come and start afresh. So I was independent, taking care of myself in the UK, paying for my own accommodation, working, eating, surviving. I came to Ghana and I had to take the reins again. So while my mates were schooling in University of Ghana, Legon, I started working. So I went straight to work. I said some time ago, one of your networks, that I actually started working in a shop. A friend had a shop in Adabraka.
That's when you came back? When I came back from the UK?
Yeah, from the UK. Because I was like, I didn't want to sit at home doing nothing, or not trying to figure. I'm trying to figure out what to do. So I took a job working in a shop in Adabraka as a sales girl. And from there, I approached Multimedia, Joy FM at the time. Joy FM just started private radio. So I said, I think I'd like to work in this space. So I approached Joy FM. And I was offered a job as I wanted to be an on-air personality, but at that time, really all they had was DJs, and I really wasn't into playing of music. I wanted to interview, to talk to people, have conversations, but there was no space for that on radio at that time. It was all about music. So I was encouraged to try my hands at sales, and since I was working in retail in the UK, I started to take that opportunity, take advantage of that, and so I started selling. So one of the first few people to start selling radio advertising as a sales executive at Joy FM. I did that for about 3 years, and then I rose up through the ranks to become senior sales executive. And then when Love FM was opened in Kumasi, I was approached by my CEO then, Mr. Kwesichum, to be part of the team that was going to set up Love FM in Kumasi. So at the age of 24, I was sent to Kumasi as the first sales and marketing manager at Love FM. Yeah, so I was part of the team that set up the station. I recruited the first team of, the first marketing team, trained them, and then we started selling advertising in Kumasi. So I was there for, I think, 1.5 years, and then I decided to come back to Accra. I was brought back to Joy FM as the promotions manager, so we organized a lot of big promotions and activities at Joy FM. And then from there, already by that time, the creative art bag had bitten me. You know, so you started forgetting about the banking thing. That dream had
died
had long died. Yeah, that dream had long died. But I discovered in all of this that I was actually a creative. I didn't know I was a creative. When I was in schooling and studying and drawing my career, I didn't even know I was a creative, because I was not exposed to the creative industry all through that journey. And I didn't understand. I didn't even know what it was about. I thought it was just about being the talents.
Okay.
I can sing.
Okay.
And if you cannot sing, you're not a creative.
Not really actually unearthing the talent and
various,
helping
the
people
whole
grow.
scope
Okay.
of the industry. I was totally blind to it.
Okay.
So it was having found myself in the media space and worked in that space and began to realize that I had a lot of creative ideas. I was a creative thinker. I could put things together. I could organize things. And I realized that, okay, let's move it to this level. So then I met my husband, and then we got married, and then we started having conversations about the industry, and then we decided to set up the Charter House. So I had to resign from multimedia, join him, set up Charter House, and then we organized the Ghana Music Awards.
So you met your husband whilst
working.
Doing this at Love FM?
No, I met him while I was a sales executive at Joy FM. He was actually a client.
Okay. How did it happen?
He was a client.
And then
I went to sell him advertising.
Okay. And then
we started having conversations.
I see.
And then he happened to live. That's what helped. He happened to live in the area where I was living, which was New Achimota.
Okay.
So he happened to live there as well. So that was the excuse. Oh, I'm giving you a ride home after work. So on the way home, you stop at a place, have a meal, chats, drop you off. And for me, it was a nice ride home.
Experience. And one thing led to
another. But what was interesting, even though he was a banker by profession, he had come to Ghana with a bank, a financial institution, to set up. And so they were going through the process. And those were the early days when Nigerian financial institutions were coming to Ghana. So he was one of the teams that were set down by one of them. And while he was here, he was seeing all the opportunities around. So when we started hanging out and he got into my space and got to understand what we were doing and what we were doing, then when he got interested in that space. And then his company asked him to go back to Nigeria. They're posting him back. And then I was like, what's going to happen? Because me, I'm here. And then I think he went back. He did go back. And then had a second think about it. And then decided to come back. And come and pursue. So he left the bank and came back and said, let's see, what can we do? So
wow. He loves you that much.
I guess so.
That's good.
So he came back and we started playing around with some of the ideas that he also had a lot of ideas already, So we started playing with some ideas, and he actually started this TV program, Agro.
Yes. Okay. Agro.
So he came back. He designed the program called Agro, which was quite interesting for a Nigerian who didn't speak a local language to design a local language program that was hugely successful. So he himself is a creative as well.
I can see that.
So because once you're a creative, once you apply the creative thinking, you can put anything together. So he started that, and actually Ghana Music Award was born through Agro, because it was on that Agro platform that was taking musicians to various parts of the country. I think at one of in Kumasi also, he had backstage Ochami Kwame, at that time they were called Achiami. Achiami and Lord Kenya were backstage, and they were arguing who was the most popular. That if I go out the front, if I go on stage, you hear the fans, I'll have more fans than you. That was the argument he saw them having backstage, and he was watching them. So when he came back, he said, I think Ghana's, and he was very interested. He found our music scene very interesting. At that time, it was more vibrant than the Nigerian scene. When we were doing, that was when Radio Stone had come back with Hip Life, and everybody was, and Nigeria hadn't started anything around that. Those things yet. They're still in the Sunny days and Emmanuel Obi, Ebenezer Obi, or whatever. They're still in that stage. So when they came and saw what was happening in Ghana, I was like, wow. Your music scene is very vibrant, and and then going on tour of the country with Agro and all of that, it was like, wow. So he came back. Why don't we create a music awards or something? So it's actually his idea.
Oh wow.
So
and then of course fire.
I was in that marketing space, so I just jumped into it, and we designed it and we packaged it, and So it was at that point that I actually resigned from multimedia, from Joy FM, so I could join him to
do full time.
Yeah.
And that was when Charterhouse was birthed?
Was birthed, yeah. And don't forget that along that side, around that time, I'd also applied to go back to university in Ghana. So I was at University of Ghana, Legon.
Okay.
I was studying psychology.
Okay.
And I found it very interesting because it's about the science of that studies human behavior. So it gave me a great understanding of human mind and how people think. And so I think it was really useful for me in what I was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was schooling full time. I was working at Joy FM, and it was difficult for me combining full-time work and working at Joy FM. So when this opportunity came, I resigned, joined him, so I could have more control over my time. Yeah. So I was working full-time. We established Charterhouse. I was working full-time. I was married, and I was schooling full-time.
Oh gosh!
Combining all the three. So I would get my school timetable, and then I will look at waking up in the morning, go for lectures. I have like 4 hours in between. Dash to the office, do some work. You know, guys, when you have remote work, you have to go to the office, go to the office, do some work. At 3 o'clock, head back to Legon for my 4 o'clock lectures and all those tutorials. And I did that continuously for the whole time that I was studying at Legon, and I was organizing the Ghana Music Awards. And through that, we had companies approaching us to also help them to organize events that they also had lined up to do. And that's how we built our corporate events portfolio as well. So so we built the company by doing public events and corporate events. And from Ghana Music Awards, we began to look at what other opportunities were there in the sector. We came up with Miss Malaika. We came up with Stars of the Future, the Night of 1,000 Laughs, and all the various platforms that we created. So we're creating the public events as well as working for companies doing corporate events.
Okay. Wow. So as a woman, as a sales girl, where did you start your sales business when you came back to Ghana?
I was working in a lighting shop in Adabraka.
In Adabraka?
Yes.
Wow.
As a store girl.
Oh, I see. That's interesting.
It's been a very long journey.
Yes, I can see.
Just today, I attended the Presidential Summit on tourism. Yeah. And I met one of my oldest clients when I was at Joy FM. We call him Shaba, said Ajiba. And he's a former MP, and he's now the chairman of the Ghana Tourist Development Company. True. And so we were just reminiscing how I used to come and market him to advertise on Joy FM. And he was so proud of my journey that I've known you for about 30 years. Wow. And I said, yes, it's true. You know, so it's been quite interesting. I mean, the journey has been amazing.
It's been amazing. So as a young lady into sales, meeting all these big clients, trying to sell to them, was there a time where you experienced that kind of situation where some men want to take advantage of you because of what you do? Definitely.
And that's an area that is very, I find as something that we need to talk about more because it happens. It does happen. And definitely as a young lady going around and meeting men who were mostly leaders of the various industries at the time. Now the scene has changed a bit, but in those days, I mean, anybody in the business environment of authority would be a man. So you'd have to speaking to them, convincing them to do business with you, and you'd always find them making passes and hitting at you. But I think that for me, what helped me was the fact that I always believed in the fact that I could do things for myself. Yeah. I think that was what drove me. The fact that I could do my independence. The fact that I could do things for myself. And don't forget, I told you, I've been looking after myself since I turned 18.
18, yeah.
I've been looking after myself, and I didn't need any man. No man was giving me any handout. I had to find the jobs. I had to find a job. I had to work. I had to pay my rent. I had to pay for my transportation. I had to buy food. I had to buy clothes. From the age of 18, when I left the shores of Ghana to go to the UK, I was taking care of myself. So if I've gone through all of that and I've come back and I'm working and I'm coming to convince you to buy advertising, it's not about me or what you see. It's about the fact that it's I'm selling something of value to you.
To you.
This is how it can help your business. You know, you're not doing me a favor by buying from me, but you have to see the value I'm offering you and buy that value. You know, so I always had to find a way to take the conversation back to
why
I'm
there?
here. I'm here to offer you value for your business. And if you want to be my friend, all I can offer you is friendship.
Yeah.
I cannot offer you anything more.
But what about Achimota? Do you remember some of the expeditions, the adventures that you
Oh my God,
Achimota
Achimota School was a whole, as they say nowadays, a whole vibe.
I know.
It was a whole vibe.
It
was a very interesting environment because first of all, it was a mixed school.
Yes.
So it was like a microcosm of society. Everything you see in society is there.
Is there.
And they prepare you for the world like that. So by the time you come out of Achimota School, you are very confident. You are very comfortable in any society, any setting that you find yourself. It was a whole holistic education. They were very, apart from the academics, they were very big on the creative arts as well. We had a lot of entertainments. They used to do operatic performances. They used to do dance competitions, entertainment nights, all of that. We're also very big on sports. So I used to be a school athlete. I was a house athlete.
I see.
And I was also a school athlete.
I'm not
I was a sprinter.
I'm not
I was a sprinter, 100 meters and 200 meters.
Wow.
Yes. So I was a reserve on my school team.
Fit.
So very big on athletics, very big on sports, very big on the arts as well, and other extracurricular activities. It was a very well-rounded education. And in those days, you spent a lot of years in school. Spent 7 years in secondary school. But nowadays, they do 3 years. I don't think they get the holistic of experience as we did. I did 7 years in secondary school, in Achimota School.
So that means that at Achimota School, did you ever get into any trouble?
Achimota School?
Yes.
I was one of those people who was very adventurous.
Okay,
very adventurous.
I can see.
Yes, I was very adventurous in a quiet way.
Okay.
So I wasn't allowed. You know, there's people in school were very loud and very, you know, troublesome. I wasn't that kind of person.
Yeah.
But I was very adventurous.
Okay.
And I also, but I was very academically smart as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I was very academically smart as well. I remember when, and so I think that kind of balanced things out for me.
Yeah.
Because, and for my parents also, because I was doing well academically.
Yeah.
They ignored a lot of the other things as
well.
So I was kind of well-rounded, you know.
see.
So when it comes to entertainment and having fun, I'm there. You know, I'm there, I'm part of it. You know, and when it comes to the academics too,
Burning
when
the
it's
candles.
speech days and they are collecting prizes, I'll also be
collect
there.
some.
Yeah, so it was that well-rounded. And I remember there was one achievement that I really cherish. I mean, in Achimota School was in our O levels. You know, when we were in those days, there was the science students used to have distinctions in O levels, and the art students never got distinctions. For so many years, you know. So in our year group, in Achimota School was the first year group to break that jinx.
Wow.
Yes. We had 12, for the first time in the history of Achimota School, I'm telling you, we had 12 art students getting distinctions.
Oh, wow.
And I was
you were one of them. Oh, congratulations. What year was that?
89.
89.
89.
Oh,
we broke that jinx.
Oh, you did really
Yes, we set a record. And since then, our students started getting distinctions. But prior to that,
they needed you
to
you know,
all of
magic.
us, and of the 12 of us, and of the 12 our students, there were only, I think, 3 girls.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And I was one of them.
That was a good performance.
So that was a highlight for me.
And back to your adventurism.
Yes.
Did you ever get into any trouble?
Oh, yes.
Things
like I remember we used to lock the, because we wanted to go to the house during the day. they didn't, once you left the house, they locked the house. You're not supposed to go to the house. And as seniors, we felt that we should be able to go to the house. We don't want to go for dining. So we came up with all sorts of devices and things. So I remember there was once we locked the padlock. We opened the door was open. We took the padlock, we locked it, and then we stuffed it with all sorts of things so the key would not enter.
Oh, goodness.
Basically, we jammed the padlock. Things like that. I mean, you jam the padlock so they can't lock the door. You do all sorts of things just so you can have your way as students. It's always like a hide and seek between you and the house mistress and the prefects and things like that.
I must also say that you're very beautiful.
Thank you. And so are you.
Oh, thank you. And your sense of fashion is top notch.
Thank you.
A lot of work must have gone into all of this.
Yes, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of being, a lot of intentionality.
Okay.
As you say, you have to realize that sometimes as women we let ourselves go.
Yeah.
We get so carried away with the duties of womanhood and the roles you're playing that sometimes if you're not very intentional, you can just really let yourself go. I've gone through that. I mean, I've gone through all of that period. Remember there was a time when my best friend used to be in the UK, and she comes down, she looks at me, she's like, what are you wearing? What have you done to yourself? Why? This one is the reason I know. So she used to whip me. Yeah. So you need to have this like tribe that supports you, that lets you know when you are letting things go and brings you back on track. So I have people like that around me who keep me on my toes and who make sure that I'm always on track. And I also do that for other people as well and other friends. We just have to watch over each other. And I've also come to embrace wellness, that we have to also take care of our health and our wellness. We deserve to a life of goodness, you know. So we need to, whilst we are juggling all these roles, do not forget yourself as a woman. You know, do not forget yourself as a woman. Make sure that you find time to do things that you create your me time. You know, to distress mentally, find things to do to distress mentally, find your me time. We are learning that we have to exercise, we have to eat well. So we are paying attention to those other areas of our lives that's part of us. So you cannot just be chasing your career and forgetting about family. You can't just be chasing your career and family and forgetting about your personal well-being. So you have to create space for all these things in your life. It's not easy.
And as a manager of music events, I need not ask if you listen to music sometimes.
Oh, of course. I love music.
You do?
I love music.
What kind of genre?
I love gospel music from all parts of the world. South African, American, Ghanaian. So I love gospel music. I love contemporary music. Yeah, and classical music. Yeah, and so Afrobeat, of course. Everything really.
Which is your favorite?
Favorite song right now?
Yes.
I'm unavailable.
Oh, they know they see me.
And I love dancing. I love dancing.
Then
whenever anywhere I hear music, I'm dancing.
I'm in the right hands, you know, because I love dancing too.
I mean,
okay, let's go. Okay. Thank you. I know they see me. Then let's dance, eh? I'm unavailable. I did. They see me. I'm unavailable. They see me. Hey. Unavailable. Hey, give them. She can dance, oh. Huh? Whoa! Hey! Whoa! Thank you so much. Theresa Ayoade, I must say that you are an inspiration to a lot of women out there. Keep up the good work, and God bless you for the impact you're making on society. Viewers, thank you so much for watching. Same time next week, another inspiring edition of PM Personality Profile will be brought your way. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Do enjoy the rest of our program. But don't forget, we're going to have a walk with Theresa Ayoade.
We've also come to embrace wellness, that we have to also take care of our health and our wellness. We deserve a life of goodness, you know, so we need to, whilst we are juggling all these roles, do not forget yourself as a woman. You know, do not forget yourself as a woman. Make sure that you find time to do things that you create your me time, you know, to distress mentally, find things to do to distress mentally, find your me time. We are learning that we have to exercise, we have to eat well. So we are paying attention to those other areas of our lives that are part of us. So you cannot just be chasing your career and forgetting about family. You can't just be chasing your career and family and forgetting about your personal well-being. So you have to create space for all these things in your life. It's not easy.
So what do you do on World Theresa Day?
On wellness, I've tried to incorporate some sort of exercise into my routine, my weekly routine. I may not be able to do it daily, but at least a few days in a week I walk. I used to walk more regularly. I had a little hip injury, so I had to stop for the past 3 weeks. So it's like my me time. It helps me. I do a lot of meditation. Walking, it like clears your mind. You know, you try to plan your day, focus. So it's a lot more for me than just even the exercise.
That's more to than that. But swimming is very good. Every part of you is exercise. It's very, very good. I've been trying to do it, but the time, once again, is a problem. This is Ayoade. Thanks so much. It's been nice working with you, and it's been nice talking to you. Thank you so much for opening up to us. Do enjoy the rest of our programs. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye to my viewers.
Bye-bye.